Alright, little car update here. So this is the hole I had to cut out of the side of the tunnel. You can't call it a transmission tunnel because there's no transmission running through there. There's a shifter bar. Where's my shifter bar? Shifter bar way back in there. There's the pedal assembly tube, clutch tube, and the fuel line. They all run through here, and to give you some ideas, perspective-wise, and pedal assembly hole. This is where the seatbelt attaches, and then you run into the back. So we're like halfway between front and back. And let's get some light on that. Yeah, there's some light. So there's what I've done. All right, I did an initial cut at the front just to show to myself that everything problem-wise was behind there. So then I took a guess as to about where the screw would be. And there it is. So I've been digging that screw out right there. And it's not going well. You'd think it's exposed. You'd think it would pop out, but it's not coming loose. So anyway, I'm going to keep working on it. And then I've got to clean all this stuff up. Okay, let me finish off what I was doing here. What it took to get this thing completely and totally cleaned up. So, what I had was this little piece of screw right here. It was stuck right here inside the tube. And I had it attached by a piece of baling wire, you know, thinking that, oh, well, there can't be that much oxidation in there. I should be able to just twist that screw right down the the bore of the tube, yanking this piece of screw along with it. But it got to about this point and it, bound up on a bunch of oxidation in there. You don't realize how much oxidation you get. Couldn't find anything about it on YouTube, the Samba, any other the Volkswagen websites. So having nothing to go on, I took a drill bit, and I welded it to the end of a 3/16 inch rod, and I put that down the tube, and the drill bit busted. So now I had a screw and the drill bit stuck in the tube. Now I thought the drill bit was up about this far, but it wasn't. Turns out the drill bit was way back down here. Way back down here, because as I started poking at the oxidation that was in here with the little screwdriver here, I was like, well, that's just oxidation. That's not my drill bit. So my hole was about this big right here, so I started taking the hole back until I got, to here. This is just the extent of my hole. I couldn't take it back any further than that. It was still oxidation all the way back to here. It's like, hard as a rock. You could poke at it with this and it would powder up and flake, but you couldn't do anything with it. And so I'm like, well, okay, I've got to be pretty darn close to it. So I took this, which is about a foot long, 1/8 inch piece of welding rod, took it, slid it into the hole, and then beat on it with a hammer until I'd pounded my way through all that oxidation. And like I say, I had to beat on it until I got the end of it over to about right here. So I think the oxidation plug was a good solid 3, maybe 4 inches. So once I got to that point, I have, I've got the other end of this particular rod, which is about 3 feet long, of course, and shoved it down the hole until I heard this guy just go kaplink on the floor behind the car. I'm like, fantastic, I'm through. So the rest of this drill bit is attached to a 3/16 inch rod, and it's solidly attached. What's left of it is solidly attached anyway. So with all that stuff out, I pulled this out, and, just went to the back of the car, threaded my 3/16 inch tube back into the back end of the throttle tube, and proceeded to shove it up, and it went very nicely up to about right here. And then I turned on the drill, and it took a fair amount of drilling to get that drill bit to grind its way through the junk. But of course, once it did, it came all the way up through here. So let me run around back. I'll just show you real quick that 3/16 inch rod drives up there without a problem. So, like I said, I've gone through, drilled all that stuff out. I'll run through that a little bit more. But coming in from the other side, we've got the throttle cable. And as you can see, the throttle cable, I mean, I'm not going to repair this tube. I don't have the ability to fix that. You know, I can take the car and I can have somebody weld the plate back in so that this gets all cleaned up. But I can't have anybody fix that tube. That's just beyond my abilities. I don't have the money for it. I don't think my relative, my sister or my nephew who've been helping me finance this project, I don't think that it's in their best interest to try and do that. But it doesn't pop out when you run this through, so I don't really see it needing anything. And it just goes down. It gets stuck. So I still need to do a little bit of cleaning up. There's still a little bit more drilling that needs to be done. But the bulk of it is done. And I think I'm ready to get that throttle cable attached. But the repair of this particular problem, I'm saying, is done. And I'm going to close out this video with this little piece. Anyway, more later on other topics.